You know, I've been keeping my eye on this movie, Star Wars. We've talked about it on this channel before. And we've had some good things to say and some bad things to say, but it's been pretty hard to get a clear picture of what the movie was going to be about before it was released. And I have to say, I'm a little concerned that the studio might be trying to hide something from us fans, because this movie has not gotten a wide release. It's been released at a couple of theaters in Washington, D.C., then a couple in Chicago, not given a wide release like we would expect for a blockbuster picture of this nature, but trickling it out, trying to, I guess, control the exposure. And I think there's good reason for that. Now, as you know, a lot of you who watch this channel may remember that this right here is the reason I gave up on space opera. Star Trek was interesting for a while, but it quickly became dominated by woke, desegregationist, virtual signaling like this. Now, I don't mean to say that I'm in favor of segregation. Nobody was. I mean, come on. Everyone understands, Gene. Come on, Gene. Everyone understands that racism is bad. You should not do a racism. But you don't have to stick it in our face every single episode. I mean, come on. Who asked for this? Who asked for this, Gene? Nobody. That's who. So anyway, after this, I was just done with space opera. I swore it off. You know, this is what I grew up on. The classics. Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, John Carter of Mars, Starship Troopers, that sort of stuff. And it has a very specific pattern. The types of characters you see in these movies and in these kinds of stories have important roles to play. One of the most important roles in traditional space opera is the princess, sometimes called the damsel in distress. Now, this is a character who in traditional space opera is there to help the hero actualize his destiny, achieve his true potential by giving him something to fight for, a reward of a romantic and sometimes of a sexual nature at the end. And this is the driving force of the genre. It defines what a space opera hero is supposed to be, what a space opera hero looks like. Now, given how badly Star Trek burned me, I kind of retreated from this genre for a while. And then I started seeing news about this movie, Star Wars, being put out by George Lucas. And it gave me a little bit of a new hope, you could say, about the future of this genre. Because on paper, Star Wars looks like a perfect expression of it. We've got a male hero from humble beginnings who meets a spiritual mentor, goes off on a quest to rescue a princess from a dark fortress. You know this story. You've read it 1,000 times. People love it. Totally apolitical. No agendas in sight, just good old-fashioned adventure stories. But Star Wars is tricking us because there's a big problem at the heart of this franchise. This braless harridan right here. Now, she's called a princess, but she acts more like a general. And that's a big problem. You see, Star Wars gives you the traditional setup. It starts out, like I just said, like a perfectly functional space opera. Your humble hero, Luke Skywalker, meets a mentor, Ben Kenobi. They go and hire a roguish sidekick, Han Solo, to attack the fortress, in this case, the Death Star, and rescue the princess. Now, in a traditional, apolitical, non-woke version of the story, when the hero finds the princess is grateful. Not this bitch. No, I'm sorry to use the strong language, friends, but look at this face. Is this the face of a grateful woman? A woman who is happy to be rescued? No, not at all. So what happens when this Princess Leia, gets, quote, rescued by Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. She starts giving the orders. That's what. She's not a damsel in distress. She's a strong woman, and she don't need no man. So she just starts barking orders. It's really, really kind of shrill and annoying, honestly. It reminds me of my ex-wife. I mean, the way my mother used to... No. It reminds me of these angry, bra-burning feminists who are taken to the streets and trying to tell men what to do, right? That's who this woman is. Luke gets her out of the prison cell. She starts barking orders. She snatches guns away from the men, shoots them herself, kicks them into the trash chute, and off we go. Now, in a traditional space opera story, this woman would reward the hero, Luke Skywalker, at the end with, a kiss or a hug or something more risque, depending on the author of the piece. But no, at the end of Star Wars, this woman has not committed to either man in the story. And to make matters worse, during the final assault on the Death Star, she's in the command center. Like she's in charge or something. No, come on, George Lucas. I don't get what you're going for here. Is she a princess or is she a general? She can't be both. You have to pick one. Pick one and stick with it. Folks, I dread the future of this genre, honestly. I mean, I'm just going to have to go back to the classics. I'm worried what the future of this genre is going to be like in, say, 40 years. Now, Star Wars is doing pretty good numbers. It might get a sequel, but I think ultimately it's doomed. Its franchise potential is not good, because when you shove woke politics in people's faces like this all the time, when you try to shove a feminist agenda into an otherwise apolitical genre this forcefully, when it's in your face this much, you are doomed to fail. And I dread to think what this franchise could look like in 40 years or 50 years. It's frightening, frankly. So my advice is avoid Star Wars. Stick with the classics where there's no politics, there's no woke agenda, just pure, good old-fashioned adventure stories set in outer space with princesses and laser swords, and skip the feminist agenda. That's just my 2 cents. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like and subscribe.